Welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice. Join me as we explore spirituality, self-help, and channeling spirits. Hello and welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice, spiritual medium. Thank you once again for tuning in for another week. Really appreciate it here at From Beyond and also at paulstalkradio.com. Well, this week you're in for an interesting show as we're going to be diving deep with the subject matter, portals. Also in this week's show, we're going to be having your channeling from the world of spirit, which sees me becoming a vessel in order for spirit to communicate their information through. And then later on in the show, we have your weekly energy forecast reading for this week ahead. So you're in for a treat with that. And so sit back, relax and enjoy as we're going to be diving deep, as I say, into this week's subject matter, which is portals. So what am I talking about when I say portals? I'm referring to energy gates that open and close both ways that allow spirit to enter and also to retreat back to where they came from. So they can enter and exit, basically. And also energetic beings can do the very same. So higher vibrational energetic beings, it doesn't necessarily have to be simply for spirit. You can have extraterrestrial communication that comes through portals as well. Other dimensions that can come through. Time travel can come through, time entity travel. There's many things that can come and go through portals. Now, how can we have a portal? How do they exist? Where do they come from? Well, basically, portals, they can happen either very naturally, they can already be there in the land, in the location, just simply to do with the ley lines or the intention of the energy within that area. Now, portals can also be either positive or negative, depending upon the vibration of how they were created. For example, if there's a lot of negativity, it can build up such a crescendo that it can trigger an opening point for a portal to open, which will again allow entities to come through. And also it could be intention. So somebody that's maybe, and I certainly don't promote this at all, but somebody that's using a spirit board, in my experience, where I've had to do a lot of house cleansing because previous occupants have used the spirit board, and and literally opens up a portal for the world of the unseen to come through. And in my experience, a lot of things that come through aren't of a higher vibrational energetic body, so to speak. But also, if you're wanting to use a portal and open one up, then setting some positive intentions as well and having that high vibration there whilst you're doing it, they can be achieved by doing that with higher intent. So the good for all. That's been my experience with them. Now, like I say, they can happen very naturally. I mean, you can go to parts of the land or in a property and you just sense something there. So portals are created either with intention, whether consciously or subconsciously. So it always pays you to be mindful all of the time. You know, what thoughts are you investing your energy, your time and attention on? What things are you watching? What things are having an influence on you? Because that can trigger a portal to open up as well. Now, portals, they can be a great tool if they're used in a high vibrational frequency. And they can help with spiritual work and ascension work. And in many respects, you can use this to help with channeling spirit through. And also you can do this with doing readings and things of that nature, where you're wanting, such as clients, loved ones, family members from the world of spirit to come in. It's a way of allowing them in in a much more easier fashion. But obviously you've got to have your protection there. Everything, all the ingredients have to be right. Otherwise you will be bringing forward, like I say, negative vibrations. So it's a very fine line when you're working with portals. So yeah, they can be very helpful. Like I say, with spiritual work, it allows you to have that stronger link, that stronger connection. It allows that channeling to come through a lot more easily, more efficiently as well. But you must remember when you've done that work to thank the communicators for coming through, and then allow them to go back to where they came from by the portal. So always remember that as well. Now, in the wrong hands, obviously they can be a very dangerous tool to have, or a location to have around you. And what I mean by this, I've already touched upon this earlier by talking about the spirit board. And it's something, again, I don't like to talk about, but on this occasion, I feel as though it is a worthy subject to just brush over so you understand how severe these things can be. Because when using a spirit board, yes, we've all seen them on the TV being used. But what you don't see on the TV, you usually see them just using it. You never see them setting boundaries. You never see them doing any intentional work, protection work, and things of that nature. And even so, with even having all of that, whilst using a spirit board, I certainly would not advise it at all. Because if there's anybody within that circle that has any chink in their armor, in other words, any weak spots in their personality or their subconscious mind, then the lower base frequencies that are coming through the spirit board will capitalize on that, and they'll amplify it in order to make that situation, that emotion, that thought more expansive, so that they will have a bigger doorway, so to speak, to come through. And that will then expand and open up a portal. And then when you close down the spirit board, you think you've closed it down and everything. Yeah, you go home, but that portal still remains in that location where you did that spirit board work. So I certainly wouldn't advise anybody to use them for that basis. Like I say, there's been many cases that I've worked on in people's private homes where I've had to close down quite a few. And it can be quite a task sometimes as well. And I'll speak a little bit more in depth about that a little bit later on. But yes, so you can, in the wrong hands, unleash negativity by doing that without even intentionally realizing it. Like I say, just having that chink in your armor or a flaw in your personality or a weakness there, that will be capitalized by some of these energies that are wanting to force their way through into this dimension. Now, detecting portals. Now, this is very interesting. The way that I've detected them over the years is simply I do a scan. I do an energy scan around the home or the property or the location. And I generally walk around with my hands in front of me, with my palms facing in front of me. And upon walking slowly through the location, I'm just feeling with the palms of my hand any changes in frequency, any changes in vibrational energy there. And what I mean by that is usually when there's a portal around, you feel like almost like a magnetic pull towards this location, a particular spot in the location. And you'll start to either feel dizzy, lightheaded. You'll find yourself swaying upon standing in that area. You'll find all of your body swaying or moving backwards and forwards very subtly to start with, and then it gains momentum and picks up speed and goes a little bit faster. But also you may encounter feeling a little bit of a tummy upset, like a knot in the center of your stomach there. This is also a good indicator of a portal is around that location where you're standing. And like I say, as I'm stood there with my hands in front of me, the palms facing outwards, I find that this is also a good connector because it helps you to detect whereabouts and pinpoint the exact location of that portal in that environment. And again, it works like, if you can imagine, I don't know if anybody's ever done this, where you get two magnets and you hold them towards each other. There's like a cushioning effect that they can't actually meet together, but there's like that energetic pull, that cushioning effect. Well, it's very similar to when you discover a portal with the palm of your hand. You can feel that cushioning effect just beneath the palm of your hand. And so if you move it away from the area and then move it back to the area, you feel an element of resistance, like this cushioning effect. And if you follow that cushioning effect round with your hands, with both hands, you can find out the circumference of that portal, where it is in that location. And just by moving your hands up and down, again, assessing that cushioning effect, you can determine how high this portal is. Now, most of them that I've encountered do go from right down from the earth, and they go right through a property, right through the roof, the ceiling, and they work their way through. So you're wanting to get to, ideally, to the central hub of that, so ground level. Just work on that to start with when you're detecting them. You will notice that if you do go in rooms above that initial portal, you will experience the same energy, just in complete alignment with the one beneath it. As I say, these go right through the property. It's a very unusual feeling. And you notice there's a shift in the atmosphere as well when you come into contact with a portal. You'll be more aware of, shall we say, spiritual activity. You may start to feel that chill sensation down your spine. The hairs may stand up on the back of your neck, and you just may feel just a little bit either supercharged, in other words, over energetic, a little bit hyperactive. Or on the other scale of things, you may start to feel drained, lethargic, tired, and you might start to get brain fog. Now, obviously, with both of these that I'm describing, obviously the hyperactive one would be of a higher vibration. It would be of something very positive energy that's coming through that portal. Yet, if something is draining your energy, making you feel tired, lethargic, having that fogginess in your mind, stopping you from having any pure thoughts of your own, then that is a portal that needs to be closed down, because it is of a negative persuasion. And it is trying to bear its influence on you in order to capitalize on any of your weakness spots within your personality, your energy, your physical body. So being very alert when you're detecting portals, that is the key. And it's having that knowledge base to tap in and to work from in order to recognize what is actually happening and what course of action you need to take, whether you have to close that down or simply allow it to be. So detecting them is a fine art, I would say. And over the years, it's took me to learn about them and to feel the energy and understand what comes in and what goes out, has been invaluable, really, to me. It's been, that's probably the wrong choice of words, but it has been a brilliant lesson how I discovered them. So cleansing portals and closing them down. Now, this can be quite a long task in itself, simply because, like I say, the process that I follow is I go round like, shall we say, a spiritual detective to start with, sensing the energy within the property, sensing the different spirit visitors in the property, the ley lines, all these different vibrations, and then also employing those techniques I shared with you in order to detect where the portals are. Well, when you've detected them and it's time to treat them or close them down, I always do this. I connect with my spirit guides and I trust the information that they are bringing forward as they're telling me more information about that portal or vortex and what beings and what energy is coming through it. And they will advise me that it would need either to be closed down or to be left alone. But when it does need to be closed down, this is when I would call in Archangel Michael and the band of helpers. I would ask for the big guns, so to speak. And it's a very sacred procedure. I won't go into too much detail, but all I will say that doing this work, you have to have your wits about you. You have to make sure that you're vibrating high and that you're open to guidance from your spirit guide as well. And just listen to that guidance, calling the archangels whilst you're doing this, and they will help with the power of intention by setting positive intention. And I've often found that by vocalizing those intentions creates a higher vibration anyway, but with the intention behind that and the energy, that will also call in the angels. It will set the tone for the task in hand, and it will make the portal close down at a lot more of a speedy, rapid rate by doing that. So yes, and obviously once that energy has been taken away, has been closed down by the archangels there, what you will find is what I described earlier to you, using the flat of your hand, the palm of your hand, again, going around that perimeter where you detected that portal was before. Just do that again after the treatment, and you'll find that that resistance that you felt there before, that magnetic pull effect, that cushioning feeling that I described earlier, will start to dissipate, will no longer be there. And your role is at that point is just to observe, feel, trust the vibrations you're getting until you feel that that energy that in that environment is as clear as the rest in the room. I always use the symbol as well on the floor of the portal of the infinity symbol. I always make a point of drawing that symbol on just with the fingertip there. And that will seal the portal, keeping it closed there. So I could go into more depth of how to do it, but I'm just giving you a glossary of how it's achieved, so that you can understand the importance of portals and not to abuse them and not to capitalize on them, because they're very sensitive things, and you've got to be, I would say, linking with your spirit guides, having that trust bond relationship with your spirit guides enough to know that the information that they're giving you about those portals are correct. And when you've built that trust up, then and only then, I would say that you would be, capable of detecting them and removing them should you need to do that as well. Now, also, in order to keep a portal, for example, to use for spiritual endeavors, for spirit work, I'm talking about positive spirit work, like if you're a medium bringing forward loved ones, or doing channeling for the greater good, for the higher good of everybody, then you have to keep high vibrational frequencies within that environment or that location. Now, what I'd advise for this is certainly start with yourself, do the inner work, and clear the old belief systems that are no longer serving you. Those old thought patterns that maybe pulled your vibration low, kept you thinking at a lower rate of vibration, and start and remove them one by one and start and send blessings and healings out. So that would be the first part of advice. The second would be to keep that environment as clear as possible. And I'm talking energetically. So whatever you place into that environment, whether it's thoughts, people, people's vibrations, people's intentions, music, film, whatever it is, the food, will all have an impact on that environment and the portal within it. So if you're wanting to keep that portal there for positive reasons, then you're wanting to keep that vibration of the location high. So intentional work, obviously, is something that I would certainly recommend. And also I would recommend, like I say, keeping the vibrations high by playing music that fills your heart with joy as a listener, that makes you feel energetic, that's It can be any style of music. You just simply have to align with it. And the fact that it brings joy to you, that feeling of joy will keep the energies and the vibrations within that environment where the portal is located at a high vibration. Now, most of you that are using it for positive good will have a gatekeeper amongst your spiritual team, along with your spirit guides there. And this gatekeeper, part of their role is to stop any untoward energies coming through this portal and in and around you as well. So having that knowledge, or at least setting those intentions for your gatekeeper to be around, to keep that energy at bay and protected and keeping it high, that would be paramount there as well. And in doing that, you'll find that your work, your spirit work, will be a lot more fruitful. But obviously we're not doing it for us. We're doing it for the greater good of humanity and the universe. So you want to take yourself out of the equation. That would be another part of my advice I'd like to share with you. So think about others for the greater and highest good. And when any information comes through, it will then come through on the vibration of love, light, peace, truth, and harmony for the highest good of all. So you're always wanting to be mindful when you're setting your intentions that you're including words of that nature, so that you're keeping those vibrations high and in alignment with positive behavior there. But also recognize that you yourself as an individual are a portal. You're a portal, and you can create, you can bring forward information, you can send information, and you can travel on multiple dimensions. And this is all down to your own personal choice. Now, only you can make that choice. Your guides may inspire you and influence you by placing feelings on you, or showing you images, or in fact directly communicating with you. But the fact is, you have a choice at any one moment in time. So again, with us being a portal ourselves, we can attract or detract, shall I say, energy and vibrations wherever we happen to be or go. So again, it goes back to taking personal responsibility for your vibrations, your energy, your thoughts, your emotions, because it's so easy to be persuaded by the actions of others, by the energy of others, just going with the flow. So in many respects, you may feel slightly alone whilst you're doing this work, because you have to have that resilience, you have to have that patience and that respect for the process. And if that means keeping your vibrations high in order to do the spirit work, then that's what you must maintain. So by doing that, you're going to understand energy a lot more, you'll have more respect for it, you won't take it for granted, and you'll know that the responsibility that you have as being your own personal portal. Okay, so with this in mind, I'd like to give you a few examples. So as I say, I've worked with portals for many years now on paranormal investigations or house cleansing work that I've done. And you generally find them, they can be anywhere in that location, but most commonly I've located them near a water source. For example, such as a kitchen sink or the bathroom sink, or you know, if there's an underground water table maybe beneath the property, that's where they're more likely to be, or a ley line of something like that. There has to be a source of energy point where it erupts from, so to speak. So that's what I've found upon doing some of these, and there's been many wherever I've been. There's been some houses that I've cleansed, and there's been 2 or 3 portals, bringing in some positive and some negative. I've even been in a location where there's been an elemental portal, you know, such as the Fae, the fairies, and that energetic frequency. So with those, I was instructed to leave them be, not to touch, just to respect those portals. And you can generally tell the difference with a high vibrational portal. As I mentioned earlier, you'll just feel that innocence, that purity, that love, that light, that joviality. Whereas something that's quite negative will not be able to come through a portal like that, because it would simply destroy their vibration. They wouldn't be able to exist in those frequencies. So I've come across quite a few, and some of them can be quite stubborn. So you have to close it down, even if it takes you a good half an hour to close it down. Do the checks afterwards, and just trust your intuition, trust your spirit guides giving you that guidance, and understand that when you've closed them down after calling in the archangels, that work is done. Never doubt what you've done, because when doubt creeps in, that gives an opportunity for that portal to open up again, because you're feeding it fear-based emotions and energy. So even if you're told that, oh yeah, this has happened, that's happened, you've got to remain positive that work is done, and it is done, and so it is, and have that confidence when you're doing this work. Also, you've got to, like I say, you've got to choose wisely with your energies. Is it positive? Is it negative? And whatever you're interacting with in your life, people, friends, family, you've always got to be trusting your vibrations. Does that feel right? Does it feel wrong? Is it adding value to my life? Is it taking energy from me? And by having these internal conversations with yourself will allow you to assess where you're vibrating at in your life, and how you can make necessary tweaks in order to remain on a high vibrational frequency. But yes, in my own home, I do have a portal, and it is a positive, loving one. And it's where a lot of communicators come through, a lot of friends and family and loved ones come through in order to bring forward their evidence and their information. But I'm very aware of it, that sometimes when it does get really busy in the home, it almost looks like there's a mist, there's a fog in the entire space where this portal is located. And so I would often be found rubbing my eyes and making sure that it's not my eyes first. I always check first before I assume it's spirit activity. So I look for any other sources, and then I make an inquiry with my intuition. I connect with my guides, and then I start to explore with my physical senses, such as my vision there and my hearing, the emotions that I'm picking up. And so, yeah, when it does get busy, it gets very foggy, and usually it's either healing that's coming in, or there's a message or maybe inspiration or information that's coming in. So usually what I do on those occasions is I just generally go round with either white sage, a Native American Indian drum, with chanting some positive affirmations in the atmosphere, and also using Palo Santo as well, again with positive affirmations. And I find that instantly, as soon as you do that, it does clear that mist, it clears that fog, and it restores everything back to its natural state of balance. So very important portals. What I'd certainly advise is don't go enchanting any in, because you won't know what you're doing. Certainly don't be encouraging anything, and just watch how you're vibrating, and you will be well, you'll be fit, you'll be well, you'll be all right. If you do have any issues with them, then this is where you need to call someone in that has experience with them and that can remove them upon your request. Well, now we're moving into the next segment of the show, which is this week's channeling from the world of spirit, which sees me becoming a vessel for that beautiful energy to come through and deliver. What you will observe whilst this is taking place is that spirit do manipulate my voice box and change my voice, and numerous tones and frequencies come through as the communicator is coming through. Now, I believe that those tones and frequencies contain healing and transformational energy, so maybe sit back and enjoy that as well. So here's this week's channeling from the world of spirit.
Hello, you don't mind me coming through and having a word with you, do you? It's an absolute honour to speak through the vessel today. We've been waiting so long to get through to you. Anyway, what we'd like to talk about with you today is some beautiful things, really. We want to talk about all the beauty around you in your earth environment. Things that you haven't really been paying attention to. because you've been filtering it out for so long. We're talking about the elementals, the fae, the fairy kingdom. And I know that sounds a little bit crazy for most of you that are listening to this, but we want to assure you that these things do truly exist. These are part of the custodians of the universe. In fact, these beings, these entities, these creatures, whichever terminology you wish to use to describe them, they have been zipping in and out of your dimension for quite some time. They've been using what we would call portals in order to make themselves appear and then disappear. They're very, very highly intelligent levels of beings, and part of their mission, really, and their existence is to keep charge of the, shall we say, the natural order of things in your environment, not just on this planet and universe, but in other dimensions as well. Now, we know that sounds, again, a little bit out there and hard to believe, but we want to assure you that whenever you've been out in your, what you would describe as nature, the countryside, and you see these glittering, flittering lights that just come and go and meander around the place, almost looking like they're observing, well, this is that community that we speak of. Now, these lights can be opened up and can zip and zap into multiple dimensions. But the reason is they're very intrigued by human beings that do resonate on a higher frequency. They're intrigued of why you're there, and because they're very territorial, you see. They like to look after their kingdom. They like to look after their patch, so to speak. And so when anybody of a high vibrational essence goes in those areas, then they what you would describe as allow themselves to be observed themselves. So, in other words, you will see them, or facets of them. They don't just expose themselves to anybody, only those of a higher vibration that have an understanding of energy and a sensitivity that they can interact with, that offers no potential threat or danger to them. That's why they allow themselves to be seen in this manner. Now, what they do is they like to keep things on a level pegging, so to speak, in terms of nature. They like to make sure that everything is in order. And not only do they feed and nourish and make sure all of the nutrients are there given to the plant life and the fauna and the flora and all of that, but they also help with the energy that it takes to create such creation. Now, in order to keep the energy pure, these beings make sure that they go around and cleaning, decluttering, getting rid of all the unnecessary vibrations that are not required in order for these things to flourish. Now, what you will find is more so now than ever that this particular level of being, the fae, the elementals, will start to be more prominent in your society. Now, we realize that that sounds absolutely bizarre and insane for you to hear this transmission, but we want you to recognize when you do see these twinkling lights coming from wooded areas or maybe a garden or grassland, and there would be no potential reason for that light to be emitting in that area. We want to tell you to explore it with playful curiosity and be open to the possibility that this is what you're truly encountering during this time. You will also know that there will be a sensation around you of peace and harmony and also joviality when you see these beings. They mean you no harm, they're just as inquisitive as you are. So when they come through, just say thank you and realize what a pleasure and how privileged you are to witness this encounter. They do various other roles, you must understand, on multiple dimensions. Now, most of these roles that they do undertake are connected with transformation of energy, moving stagnant, shall we say, redundant energy into creativity, into light, and into vibration that can be used and utilized in order to manifest and and shall we say, unfold creation at its higher level. Now you'll know when you walk in some of these places that on some level there's various very territorial beings, like we say, the elementals, that feel threatened by certain, shall we say, humanity, human interaction in those parts. So what they will do is, if they take a great displeasure and disliking to you, they will cause some sort of mischief so that you will feel slightly alarmed and maybe slightly intimidated by being in that presence. The idea behind it is not to harm you in any way, but just to intimidate you enough to move out of that vicinity so that they can carry out their work and keep that energy pure and strong and remain in that high vibrational state. Because they do put a lot of time, attention and effort into their environments. And so that's where they're very precious about them. So just a little bit of information for you to know about the Fae, the elementals and the fairy community, and just for you to be more aware of them, because there's going to be a lot more sightings than what has been previously at least admitted to in the past. You'll have a job to capture them on film or camera, because they are very cunning in the way that they decloak their vibration so that you can interact and see them. So if you do have the pleasure of capturing such a creature, then know that you are equally very honored and privileged to have done that. And it would have been with their permission for you to capture that also. So it's a great privilege to be in that vibration. So what we'd like to do is now pass you over to another communicator that's wanting to come through and talk to you about another subject entirely. But for now, thank you for listening and embracing some of these unusual methods of communication with you and these subjects that we bring across to you today. We hope to speak to you very soon, and we wish you all the love in the world. Bye for now.
I hope how's the doing, right? I hope you don't mind me coming in to say hello. Anyway, I've been assigned to come forward today to tell you a little bit about your own personal development, and I'm talking about knowing yourself. There's going to be a lot of change in your society where you'll start to realize a lot of people are now going inwardly in order to find their beauty, in order to honor their truth and allow that to come up. And with this being said, there's going to be a lot of changes in society, because at the moment there is that, shall we say, juxtaposition. That's probably a wrong turn of phrase, but we'll use the term contrast instead. There's that contrast in your society where there's this unseen hand, this controlling hand, this, shall we say, rules and regulations that's kind of putting a perimeter around your potentiality. And why we mention this is because when those of you that are going to go within and do the inner work and unfold, you're going to realize that that is just all a charade. That is all just a load of nonsense. It's just trying to keep you small and stopping you from being the best version that you truly are. With this being said, because a lot of you will be awakening in vast numbers, it won't be feasible anymore to live in this state of control and constriction. No, you will not resonate or align with you. So these people that are doing the inner work, they'll just go about their own business, and they won't cause no harm or upset or upheaval to anybody. They just will simply ignore the narrative and go their own way. And by doing that, what we want to say that new communities are going to be formed, new versions, new social contracts. Now there's some big words, social contracts. So we're referring to, shall we say, an agreement, a vocalized agreement, an energetic understanding between communities and individuals that there's the line and you don't cross it. Now, we understand that you believe that you have something like this in place already. in many respects you do, but most of those rules and regulations have been imposed on you by those that don't deserve that authoritarian role. So you're going to take your own responsibility back. And with doing that, there'll be, like we say, an emotional and energetic agreement between individuals where you'll set boundaries and you'll respect one another and you'll allow people to do what they want, when they want, as long as they're causing no harm to anybody else. There's going to be enough to go around. We're talking about food, we're talking about energy, we're even talking about what you would describe as your monetary system. Now, there's going to be a big shake-up with that, and in fact, it's already happened, but it's happened behind the scenes, and it's not been exposed to its full capacity as yet, but it's coming through every single day. You're going to start and see changes in your monetary system, and it's going to cause a little bit of confusion for most, but we want to say that you'll always be provided for. You'll get what you need, and you'll get it when you need it. So do not, and I'll repeat that, do not invest any time or energy into fear-based constructs thinking that you won't have enough. As you can imagine, by even saying that and thinking it, that evokes a fear-based response. And we're not talking about that. We're wanting you to focus on the truth of who you are and the divinity that you emit into your world. By doing this, you'll get everything what you need when you need it. And it's going to come in miraculous ways. Ways that you've never even contemplated being possible. And when you have that open sense of being, you'll know that your life is just going to flow to such amazing heights. There's going to be those people that are observing you that will be not only amazed by how you've got to where you've got and what you're doing, but they'll also be amazed of, how's he doing it? What's their secret? Why are they doing that? How's she doing that? There's going to be a lot of that. An element of, shall we say, charisma, an element of curiosity, but not jealousy. There's a sense of congratulations in the vibration. At one time, people would have been jealous. But no, people want to get to that level themselves. And people are just going to help one another in order to get them there. There's not going to be any animosity or jealousy anymore. Those are old, those are old fear-based concepts. And that energy is phasing out by the day. But it all starts with you. So take responsibility, listen to your inner feelings, and just follow that, and follow that only, and let that be your guidebook in life. And when you do that, you'll notice other people will latch onto it and follow suit. And then this is how the shift, the new vibrational wave, makes its move into your year of 2023. It will happen incrementally because there's a lot to unpick, as you can imagine, with all the doctrinization and control that's been enforced on your societies. But nevertheless, those are being taken down, those walls are being removed, and instead freedom, love, responsibility and personal empowerment are coming to the foreground. So take note, observe, celebrate the successes, because when somebody else wins, when somebody else succeeds, you win and you succeed. And that's going to be the new vibration, and you'll align with it. And this is how things will start to unfold and happen for all of you very quickly on a positive level. So we just thought we'd share that with you ahead of it unfolding, so you've got some idea of what to focus on and what not to focus on. Anyway, we've spoken enough for now. So God bless you. Thanks for taking time out your busy day to listen to this, and we hope that it finds you well. We'll be back at some point in the near future to give you a little bit more information to help you on your way. But for now, totty bye, and we'll see you soon.
Fantastic communication there from the world of spirit. I found it particularly interesting. They was telling us to pay more attention and look around at the beauty of nature and the actual creatures or entities, if you like, elementals as spirit are calling them, are actually the custodians of the earth, and they're keeping everything in order and making that energy balance there. So I found that absolutely fascinating as they're transforming that old energy into energy to manifest creation. I thought that was fascinating. Also, what I enjoyed about the communication was the changes in society by the second communicator that came through, talking about we're going to do some inner work and that we are to stay and stand our ground. When we do that inner work, there's going to be substantial amounts of changes around us, and also creating our own communities, our own reality. That is a wonderful vision in itself, isn't it? Rather than following the narrative of the general consensus that we've been led to believe all these years. So I found that very encouraging there as well. And obviously with them saying that, they mentioned about changes in the monetary system, and things are on the cusp of changing for every single one of us here on the planet Earth, which it feels very safe, very protective in the way that it's going to change, how Spirit was talking about it, having said that we're all going to be okay, we're all going to have the finances we need, we're all going to be protected as well. And of course, we've got the healing at the end of that transmission, which was so soft and gentle. I got really warm chills, energy chills, if that makes sense, upon hearing that back for the very first time after channeling that sound healing there. And what a lovely, beautiful melody that came through in that. So we're going to move on to the next segment of the show, which sees this is your weekly energy forecast reading for this week. So pay attention if you have a pen and paper and you're wanting to take notes to maybe refer to later on so that you can assess, then please do that. In the meantime, sit back, relax, and listen to this week's energy forecast reading.
Hello, my name is Glenn Boddice and I'm a spiritual medium, and welcome to this week's energy forecast reading for Monday, the 20th of March 2023. Now, those of you that have watched me do this before will know that I connect with my spirit guides and helpers and also consult the wisdom of the angel tarot cards. So what I'm about to do is shuffle the pack and allow a card to come out at random, and right on cue, one has just done that. So this is your card for this week's energy forecast reading. I'm now going to link into the energy of that card and bring the information forward for you. Well, straight away, I'm being told by my guides not to be triggered by the actions or beliefs of others this week. There's going to be a lot of confusion, generally speaking, in and around you. And if you allow it to, it will find a way of sticking to you. So instead, simply don't judge those individuals. Just be that listening board for them to share or at least express that information that they're going through, and then just let that energy pass through you. Instead of judging, you will notice that within yourself, you will feel that urge to be triggered. However, you need to be more mindful of how you're feeling and not allow that energy to stick. This week will also see you standing in your truth, standing in your power, and you will feel a little bit isolated to some respects. The fact that you will feel like you're on your own path and everybody else is on a different path to you. And it will feel a little bit unusual to you to start with in the beginning of this week. However, you will get accustomed to it and you will align with the truth of who you are. You will notice actually this week that there will be a few triggers placed before you about your old belief systems. What you used to assign to will come up, and it will cause a little bit of frustration with you, but nevertheless you are to carry on being the truth of who you are. Despite those things coming up, you need to just flow with that energy. Also, watch out for your physical body this week. I feel as though you will be experiencing a few aches and pains around the arms, around the legs, similar to the feeling of like a flu-like symptom, although you won't have anything medically wrong with you. I feel as though the energy that's being expressed is simply the vibrations changing.
within you and around you. And so you're blending with those new frequencies and adjusting on a physical and emotional level to them. This week will also see you changing your food habits. And instead of having little snacks and things like that, you'll be more mindful about the food that you have. And when you do eat at meal times, you'll make sure that you're having substantial food that provides you with sustainable energy. Because this week you will be finding that you'll be craving certain foods in order to keep your energy moving forward. However, watch out for the sugars and make sure that you're staying balanced with drinking and eating. Now, when I say drinking, I'm referring to hydration, drinking of mineral water to make sure that you're allowing that energy to flow through you. So also I feel with you that there will be a need to make new plans within your life because your life is changing very rapidly. And it's almost as if you're going to have to change your mind on the hop. Rather than planning too far ahead, you'll be faced with circumstances where you're going to just have to adapt and adopt a new way of being. And by being like that, you'll find out that actually what is coming in and the choices that you make based upon your emotions in that actual situation will be more beneficial to you. More opportunities will come in as a result of that. And also you'll be set aside from other people because other people will be stuck in the rut and they will be looking for that guidance and help. So with you following that intuition, with these new changes in your life, I feel as though it will inspire other people to do the same. So let's turn over the card and see what we've got for you here. So at the top, we've got 7 of fire. So I'd like you to research the angel number meaning of number 7 on the internet, as I feel that will offer you some additional support and information at this moment in time. And the number 7, I feel, is represents good luck. Also looks like a sickle when you see the actual shape of the number 7. So that would indicate luck. But in order to have that luck and opportunity, you've got to cut the cords. You've got to cut the old belief systems, the old version of you, in order to embrace the new. At the bottom of this card, well, actually, before we do that, let's interpret fire. Fire to me represents light, heat, warmth, healing, passion, and new beginnings. So this week we'll see the start of all of those traits coming into your life. So simply go with the flow and don't try to overplan. Just trust your feelings and emotions, as that will guide you through this week. Now, the writing at the bottom there reads, defend your beliefs and decisions. Stand your ground. Choose your battles wisely. With that being said, I feel as though it's referring to you speaking your truth, aligning with your truth in who you are in that moment, and not being deviated by the energy of other people trying to pull you off your beaten track, so to speak. And also choose your battles wisely. That would indicate, not allowing yourself to be triggered by other people's energy, and instead walking away so that you can retain that confidence and that self-worth within yourself there. So looking into the artwork of the card, we've got this beautiful deep red colour. To me, that indicates passion. It indicates, I've just been told, blood and the life force. So this week we'll see you moving more in connection with your life force of who you are meant to be in this new energy frequency. Also, that this colour of red to me represents deep passion. So passions that you've maybe holding on to for quite some time now, but you've been restricting yourself from expressing them, from whether this is in something that you're interested in, such as a pastime, a hobby or interest that you've been keeping close to your chest, or whether it's a relationship, or whether it's emotions that you've been hanging on to. This week we'll see that passion coming to the foreground there, and you not feeling bad or guilty about expressing that. So watch out for this. Looking into the artwork, we have this beautiful lady, feminine energy there, and as you can see, she's looking rather happy with herself there. She's holding on tight, what I would describe as a dragon there. So feminine energy would indicate sensitivity. It would indicate that intuition within you and following that intuition. And also, as you can see, she's holding on tight to what I would describe as a dragon. She's holding on tight to that. Well, it's not actually a dragon. It's some sort of phoenix. I feel it's a phoenix, actually. My mistake. It's a phoenix looking into that. It does look similar to a dragon with the neck and some of the features there, but I would say it is a phoenix. But with this being the case, it's that old saying, isn't it? Rising, the phoenix is rising from the ashes. So that old version of you is now no longer, I would say, is redundant. And the new version of you is rising from the ashes of the old version of you. So by letting go of that, it will allow you to live and move into this new version of yourself. Also, that represents flight. As you can see, this bird is in flight. It's going in the right direction. There's a lot of momentum in that picture as well, but it has an ease and grace about it, the way that this bird is taking flight. So he's telling you not to rush things, go with the flow, know that you're going in the right direction. And also, my guides are saying to look out for feathers, white feathers, in your pathway. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, just keep your eye out for these white feathers, as that will be an indication to you from the world of spirit that you're on the right path. Don't give up now. Keep on going and trust. More than anything else, trust where you're going there. So there's a lot going on for you this week. There's a little bit of blue there underneath this bird. So I feel that is referring to the emotions, leaving the old emotions behind. You're moving above and out of those emotions now. So just let that energy go. So that's what I've picked up for this week's energy forecast reading. I hope that aligns with you. Thank you for liking, hearting, commenting and sharing. If you've enjoyed what you've seen on here today and you would like a one-to-one private reading or a 12-month recorded forecast reading, then please go to my website, www.glennboddicespiritualmedium.com, or book in at my Facebook page, Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium. That would be greatly appreciated. If you do like listening to self-help and paranormal radio shows, you can tune into my show every morning, every Monday, and it's called From Beyond with Glenn Boddice on pulsetalkradio.com at 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. In the meantime, take care, God bless, bye for now. Well, it looks like we're all set for a very transformative week this week by the sounds of things. I hope you've enjoyed this week's show. There's been a lot of information exchanged, and so I hope it resonates with you on some level and gives you that greater understanding of the subject matters covered in this week's show. Can I invite you, if you have any show suggestions, any ideas, or in fact, if you have any stories to share about your paranormal encounters, or indeed your self-help and development process that you feel will help others, and you don't want to come on the show, but you're wanting it to be, that information to be exchanged, then please do send me a message, and I'll read that out on the show. So you can get in contact by going to my website, www.glennboddicespiritualmedium.com, or emailing me at glennboddice@live.co.uk. And it would be fantastic to hear from you and include some of your information in the show there, again, to help others align and transform in their lives. In the meantime, I wish you all a wonderful week ahead, whatever it is you're doing, and I look forward to your company, same place, same time, next Monday, 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time on pulsetalkradio.com. Take care, God bless, bye for now. Thank you for listening to From Beyond. For more information about what products and services Glenn provides, go to Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium